Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing deemed repatriation. There's another video on this channel which discusses that issue in greater detail. Also things with respect to Trump tax and the changes that have occurred since the promulgation of tax laws back in December 2017. A recent article entitled Expat Americans Given 1-Year Business Tax Reprieve. It's by Christopher Copper, I-N-D, and it's Christopher Copper, and I believe that's independent journalist. It was published June 5th, 2018. Quoting directly from this article, expatriate Americans have been given a 1-year reprieve from an unexpected levy on their overseas business interests, in what many hope is a sign that Congress will fix the series of tax reforms signed into law earlier this year by Donald Trump. The one-off tax of 15.5% is primarily aimed at persuading large corporations such as Apple to bring back profits to the U.S. Yet instead, the tax has also caught small business owners who have described it as quote-unquote ridiculous. Up to 1 million U.S. citizens who hold more than 10% of a so-called controlled foreign corporation and living overseas were preparing to pay the tax in stages over 8 years, or would have to pay the full amount in advance if the initial payment was missed. So there's been basically what to take away from this. First of all, check out that article. Again, the title, Expat Americans Given 1-Year Business Tax Reprieve. It's rather interesting. There's quite a bit more detail, but I'm going to just provide some general commentary on this. Yes, it's very clear that this sort of deemed repatriation was really genuinely intended for large multinational corporations. The problem is the way the law was written, or at least the raw law was written, it was I've found it rather difficult reading to say the least, but it seemed to go ahead and scoop up rather small operations into this net. So it would kind of be akin to going whaling and, ending up picking up a bunch of guppies at the same time. As noted in the article, Apple, has large cash reserves, presumably, offshore from the United States, and this deemed repatriation stuff was going to have a substantial impact on them. But should basically smaller businesses, SMEs operated by American expats abroad, be sort of tarred with the same brush? It does seem, I won't go as far to say ridiculous, but it does seem like something that needs to be spoken to. It needs to be discussed, and perhaps a more reasonable set of rules need to come into place, especially keeping in mind that, some expat businesses outside the United States, here in Thailand, you can have an expat, owning a business that's like a bar and grill or a small restaurant. And that's not a substantial entity. And to sort of get sucked into this deemed repatriation for such an entity could be really debilitating for expats abroad. So I'm hoping that we're going to see some kind of perhaps further legislation from Congress as sort of a technical correction legislation. That it would be really nice if that could happen before it becomes time to be dealing with the most recent tax year. But that being said, how that's going to go remains to be seen. The thing to take away from this is there has been a reprieve. I think it was a much warranted reprieve, especially for SMEs. And we'll keep you updated with respect to further developments on this topic as things progress.